What does it take to create a vibrant, thriving life? First, the sad news is that Thoreau was right. Most people are leading quiet lives of desperation, lacking in meaning, fulfillment, and vitality. But we choose more. We choose to create extraordinary lives. And the Art of Vibrant Living show entertains you with inspiration, empowerment, and education to create your life into a masterpiece. It's time. Let's vibe up. Hey, aloha, y'all. Daniel Aaron here. I'm your host. This is the Art of Vibrant Living show. And our job, our mission, our privilege is to help you live your most vibrant, thriving life yet ever. And, I usually say at the beginning of the show something like, don't just have the information. Don't just say, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Don't just be entertained. Like, yes, please be entertained, but also do something with that information. And I'm going to go deeper into that today because there's a lot more to that. There's some real power for you in that, in really creating your most vibrant, thriving life, which I'll explain what that means because that might sound like weird language. First, though, sad news for us is our guest, our scheduled guest today, Minda, is without voice. She lost her voice. Can you believe that? It's so seldom that I don't have a guest able to show up on the show. We do the show live. Yet last week we had Daniela after hurricanes in Florida without internet. And now this. So on the flip side, though, I am sharing with you the distillation of 29 years of my own obsessed personal and spiritual development journey. What do I mean by obsessed? Okay, maybe another word for it is committed. And this is something, you know how it goes that we get used to what we're used to, right? We are all fish swimming in the fish bowl in the water of our lives. And sometimes until somebody says to us something like, that's not normal or that's not usual, we forget. We think it is, right? I had an experience not long ago where I was in a scene and there was some physical violence, like a fist fight. And I saw that and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then someone else said to me, no, actually that happens fairly often. Like, oh, right. I run in different circles. So speaking with my coach, John Morgan, the other day, and one of the things he pointed out to me is that I have an extremely high level of commitment. What does that mean? Commitment it's a weird word, right? Like a lot of people take that as some kind of moralistic thing, obligation thing, right? It evokes concepts like should. If somebody's committed, these are the things they should do, or they said they were going to do that, and so they better make sure they do that. I don't mean it exactly like that. Now, there is something to that. There is some value, of course, in integrity, right? Certainly it's important, and there's huge importance in being our word and doing what we say, not in a moralistic way, not because that makes you a better person or a holier person or anything like that. It's because it's functional. Because if we can't trust ourselves, if other people can't trust us, which way is our life going? It ain't uphill, right? It's not getting better, right? My favorite analogy is like a wagon wheel. Oh, our focus is off, I think. Let's see if we can fix that. Is it off? I don't know. All right, maybe it's my eyes. Focus, focus, Daniel, focus. Wagon wheel, spokes, right? And integrity is the spokes working. Like when I say I'm going to do something and I do it, that's working. When I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it, that's like a broken spoke. And so what happens in our life when we break integrity, when we don't do what we said? And I mean that in the terms of like, hey, I told you I'm going to be there at 3, but also I mean in like, hey, I told myself I'm going to go to the gym today. In either case, if we don't do what we said we're going to do, what happens? Inevitable conclusion. I can't trust myself. I'm a liar. If you want to go a little woo-woo with it or even religious with it, speaking to God, speaking to the universe, God, the universe, can't trust us either. Hey, that one doesn't do what he says. So, why would I give that one more power or opportunity? Because, hey, can't trust him, her, it. So, got excited. A little bit of a tangent. Still, what my coach pointed out to me is I have a high level of commitment. What does that mean in terms of what we're doing here, the Art of Vibrant Living show? Here's the deal, y'all. If you want to have an amazing life, if you want to create everything that you want, and I mean that in the full sense of the pyramid of vibrancy, from physical vitality to emotional flourishing to relationships that are amazing to work and life and mission that is meaningful to you, creativity, to even having a fantastic relationship with time, right? Financial abundance, spirituality, and gratitude, all of those make up the pyramid of vibrancy. And you can absolutely 100% create yourself into one who is mastering all of those realms, which to me, that's what vibrant living is all about, right? Passion, purpose, prosperity, thriving in all of these areas, not mastered them, because there's always room to grow. So, what does it take to do that? Well, the most important thing, one, is a commitment to it. Like, that's important. I value that. And then if we have a commitment to it, if we value that, then automatically what comes is, well, how do I show up for that? What do I do? How do I create that? And, and I've realized from the last few days of thinking about this, yeah, you know what? I am really committed to creating myself to be thriving, to be the best absolute teacher, coach, entertainer I can be in my service to the world. And guess what's cool? I realized also that my clients, the people I have the privilege of serving, are likewise really committed. They show up, they do what they say they're going to do. Right? In fact, as a contrast, yesterday I was speaking to a potential client and I cut the conversation short. We'd spoken before and I said, hey, I'd be happy to have another conversation. I can help you with that thing you're working on there. I said, great, thank you, wonderful. I said, okay, here's what I want you to do in the meantime. He said, yep, great, I'll do it. Showed up for the call yesterday. He's like, oh yeah, I didn't really do that thing. I'm like, okay, no drama, no anger, no worries for me. And we end the conversation there because I can't serve you. I can't help you if you're not showing up for yourself, if you're not someone who does what they say, let alone consider the possibility of you being a client, right? I would never take money to be able to serve someone because I can't help them if they're not showing up. So we cut it off there. So now, what does it look like or mean for me being highly committed? Well, I'm going to share with you my Supreme Self Manifesto. And you might have seen a YouTube video I made about this last year. I think it was last year. And part of it was because I shared some of what I had learned from one of my teachers, coaches, friends, Steve Hardison, who really helped me to think about and see this idea of a manifesto in different ways. He calls it a document. And either way, what it is a set of statements, a set of declarations that are who I am. You ready for a secret? You've got one, whether you have written it out, thought about it or not. Everybody has a set of statements, declarations about who they are, because we all have self-concepts, identities, or if you want to go new agey on it, vibrations, right? Who we are. And you know this, you've seen people, you've heard people, they say things like, I am lucky. I am fat. I am tall. I am rich. I am poor. Right? People say things, and that's what's on their document, whether it's actually been written or printed or not. So I shared about this last year, and I shared the manifesto that I had at the time, and I'm going to share where it's at now, probably about a year later. And I was thinking of this morning, playing around with AI and looking at it and like, wow, it's really different. Here's the core thing though. What would it look like for you if you were really committed to your life, to yourself, to your dreams, right? To living in a way that you feel amazing and wonderful about? What would that look like? What would that feel like? What would that produce? One of the beautiful, amazing things, one of the best things I've learned in my 3 decades of personal and spiritual development, right, since I got the divine whack upside the head, is who we are is malleable. Right? Emerson, one of my favorite quotations, says, who you are thunders so loudly, I can't hear a word you say. I paraphrase that. Who you are thunders so loudly, nobody hears a word you say. In other words, who we are being, always trumps, always is most important, right? Just like children, right? The old saying is, they don't pay attention to what you say, they pay attention to what you do, right? Really though, higher level, they pay attention to who you are. So I will speak for you to you my current manifesto. Here we are, October 24, 2024, 10/24/2024. And I give you the date specifically for a reason, because tomorrow it won't be the same. Maybe it'll be very close. Next week, next month, next year, it'll change, because I am growing and developing. And there are 2 key aspects of a declaration, right? 2 key aspects of a manifesto, a document, right? In that, one, part of what we're doing with it is speaking out the inalienable, unalterable truths of who we are, right? Now, you could change the language for this, but we're remembering the truth of who we are. And you could say it, Marianne Williamson said it in her famous poem about our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, it's that we are powerful beyond measure. In that poem, she says, you are a child of God. Now, if that language works for you, works for me, great. There's nothing that you or I could ever do to change that or mess that up. It's inevitable. You are a child of God. Okay. Right. So, or you could say you are perfect. Right. And in a manifesto style, we would say typically, I am. Right. So we're reassociating to remembering truths about who we are. That's one part. On the flip side over here, there are aspirational statements. Aspirational meaning that I'm aspiring to certain things. So, for instance, in my manifesto, one of the things I say is, I am unconditional love and prodigious patience. Not always, not yet. Unconditional love and prodigious patience. However, and since I have been declaring that, and I'm committed, right? So it's daily. Since I've been declaring that, my level, my skill, my aptitude for unconditional love and prodigious patience has gone way up. By the way, why would I include those in there? Because those have been challenges for me, right? Especially the patience. I get really like, let's go, impatient, you could say. So realizing that impatience isn't serving me, I say, okay, what can I do differently? How do I want to create myself? Who do I want to be? Right. So you'll see how this works when I share my declarations with you, my manifesto. you'll notice already, especially if you know anything about me, some of the things absolutely 100% true, and so just really useful for me to remember that. And some, like, they're not fully manifest in my life right now. That's why I'm using them in my manifesto, right? Now, there was one other thing I was going to share with you about that. Maybe not. Oh, yes, there it is. I use the language we, and I'm going to share it with you just authentically the way I say it every day. Right? I speak it out loud. I also write it, I journal it. I even use some AI tools and I listen to it in my voice and other people's voices, right? Because ultimately it's about conditioning, right? Who we are is so malleable, right? And we've got that really backwards in our world. So many of us grew up with this idea that we are formed, that we can't change, right? And even amongst those who say, yeah, you know what, I can change, I can grow, who have like Carolyn Dweck says, who have a growth mindset as opposed to a fixed mindset. So many of the people that do have the growth mindset don't really know how. They're trying to do it with force and push themselves, right? And this technology of the manifesto is so powerful. It's just by far the fastest, most effective way of creating ourselves, right? So that's what I do every day. That's part of my commitment to myself, to my life, to my dreams, to the people that I love, my family, my daughter, my friends, my community, my clients. It's to help me become every day, remember, and grow into it even more, the absolute best I can be for myself and especially for everybody else in my service, in my love. Okay, so why do I say we? It might sound a little bit weird if I am speaking and saying we. Well, it's because for me, I'm in the process right now of remembering that I and Heavenly Father, I and God, I and the universe, we're not separate. We are the same. We are one. Right? There was a lot of my life when I really saw those two entities as two separate entities, and that's not the way I conceive of, see, experience the world and divinity. So I use this language, even though it's a little weird, to remind me to inculcate, to cultivate and activate that awareness inside myself. We are, and we are creating. Being matters most. Love, freedom, vibrancy. We are that. We use this manifesto now to breathe life into our supreme self. We are infinity and divinity, prophet, poet, mystic, one with God, friend and apprentice to Jesus. We are immense electric energy, a wellspring of power. We are walking on water and swimming in earth. We are a holy magnifying glass, starting fires of love. We are kintsugi, magnificently messy, making masterpieces. We are sword and scythe, happily hurting in order to heal. We are unconditional love and prodigious patience, a king giving order, protection, and blessings. Everyone, our family, always deserving our embrace, especially Zeta Shazandra Aaron. We are scintillating, unfiltered, and immediate expression. Guided by mystical intuition, we are boldness, creating mirth, magic, and miracles. Worshipping this temple, we are lean, muscular, flexible, and free, joyously sculpting this body of a god. We are astounding authenticity, invincible vulnerability, supreme self-esteem, and crystal transparency. We are love, glowing with goodness, grace, and joy, lit with lightness and shining for all. As our own greatest cheerleader, we profoundly grok our infinite worth. We are innocence, forgiving ourselves and everyone, prioritizing understanding over the need to be understood. We are infinite service, loving, purely, generously, without thought of gain nor manipulation toward what's in it for us, while simultaneously we create abundance. We are so grateful now as abundance flows to us easily and effortlessly on a consistent and daily basis. We are that beings, regardless of form or status, want to be with us. Our presence makes their lives better, and they love themselves more every time they are with us. We are the cause. In the face of adversity, we rise, transforming fear into freedom and anti-fragility. Bring it on. We are the forge of discipline, avoiding nothing, indomitable, supreme certainty. We love pain, challenge, discomfort, and dirt. We are systematic consistency, planning, execution, a reliable vessel for spirit. We are a lightning rod for God, entertaining, inspiring, and empowering millions, especially the one we are with now. We are the world's greatest vibrant life coach, champion, and transformational entertainer, catalyzing miracles, activating enlightenments, captivating audiences, and uplifting souls. We are inspirational leadership, alchemizing criticism into brilliance, a voice and vehicle for the end of isms. And we are a prolific, inspirational, and well-loved author. We are a masterful husband, presence, depth, devotion, opening our queen to radiate her brilliance. We are legendary love. Our bond is sacrosanct, and together we grow. We are forever friendship, generating trust, depth, and intimacy, part and parcel of cherished groups of friends. And together, we create interlocking circles of communal coherence. We are arete, integrity, and mastery. We are Daniel, conduit for divine wisdom, beacon of peace, and clarion call for justice and love. We are a radiant bridge between human potential and divine essence. So it is written, so it is spoken, So it is. Hari Om Tat Sat. All right, thanks for tuning in. A couple more things I'll let you know about that. The whole point, the benefit, why it works, how it works, is not just me saying those words or writing them or listening to them. It's that as I do so, I use it to activate that state of being inside myself. And if I do that, and as I do that over and over, I become that. And when I become that, it changes what I say, the words I use, my feelings, my thoughts, the actions I take, and absolutely changes the results in my life. And the same is true for you. And if you know me, you probably know something about some of those declarations I spoke. Like, why are they in there? Because I wasn't that way, right? Because there are aspects of my life, that my way of being, that were challenging or ineffective. And I said, that's not who I am. That's not who I choose to be. So how can I make myself, how do I create myself into somebody who's more loving, more generous, more kind, more abundant, more bold? Right? I do it by using the words, by using those declarations, that manifesto. Right? All right. I shall leave it there. If this is interesting, useful for you, if you are interested in exploring what you being more committed, fully committed to your life, yourself, your self-creation, your dreams, then awesome. I applaud you. I would love to meet you, love the opportunity to converse. Perhaps I could be supportive to you. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to send me a direct message or put a comment or question below. Thank you. I love you. See you soon. We'll be back, by the way, for sure, with our show next week. Aloha, y'all. Mahalo for tuning in to the Art of Vibrant Living show, y'all. I'm Daniel Aaron, and may you live with great vibrancy.